When his mother finally discovered him, he was standing in his sister's room dressed in her clothes, her most elegant ball gown, high heels, jewelry, and carefully applied makeup. The two of them locked eyes. After a moment, she broke the silence. "So," she said calmly, "I've been wondering who has been trying on our clothes and leaving makeup stains behind. Now I know." Paul froze. He didn't dare respond. Everyone in the house knew how fierce his mother's temper could be. She slowly walked around him, studying every detail of his outfit. "You do realize Juliet will need a new dress for the country club ball now, don't you?" The question wasn't really a question at all. Juliet always wore something brand new to the annual event. His mother continued almost thoughtfully. "In fact, I think it's only fair that we show everyone your little ensemble at the ball." Paul's heart jumped. "But mother, this is a gown. I can't go to the ball like this." "Oh, you will," she replied firmly. "And to make sure you're properly prepared, you'll wear women's clothing every day until the ball arrives." Paul stared at her, speechless. At 19, he had the same slim build common to the men in his family. Tall, lean, and nearly hairless, with light facial hair inherited from his grandfather. From his mother he had inherited blonde hair and bright blue eyes. Despite wanting to protest, he found himself following her as she led him out of the room. They descended the sweeping spiral staircase together until they reached the sitting room. His sister Juliet and her friend Catherine were waiting there. The moment they saw him, both burst into laughter. "Oh, mother," Juliet giggled. "He looks absolutely adorable." She had long suspected someone had been sneaking into her wardrobe, ruining clothes and smudging cosmetics, though she had never caught the culprit. Seeing her brother standing there in her finest gown confirmed everything. "Was he already dressed like that when you found him?" Juliet asked. "Yes," their mother answered. "And I've decided he'll attend the ball dressed exactly like this. Until then, he'll wear nothing but women's clothing." Paul lowered his head, humiliated. Not only did his mother and sister know his secret now, but Catherine did as well, and soon the whole town might. "Well," Juliet said with a playful grin, "if he's going to dress like a girl, we should give him a girl's name." Paul had always secretly liked the name Carolyn, but Juliet quickly suggested another. "Amelia," she said. "It suits a prissy boy who wants to play dress-up." Their mother nodded in approval. "Amelia it is." From that moment on, they referred to him by that name. "Come along, Amelia," his mother said. "Let's get you into something more suitable for daytime." Her tone made it clear there would be no arguing. He followed her upstairs, lifting the long skirt slightly so he wouldn't trip on the steps. Once in her bedroom, she watched as he removed the gown. Underneath, he was already wearing pantyhose, a bra, and his own briefs. "Take the rest off," she instructed. "If we're doing this, we're doing it properly." Soon he stood there in only his briefs while she led him into the bathroom. She spread a thick cream across his arms, chest, and legs. "Stand still for 30 minutes, she said. "I'll prepare your clothes." The cream smelled unpleasant and soon began to itch, but he waited as instructed. When she returned, she directed him into the shower. By the time he rinsed off, every trace of body hair had vanished. "Wash your hair too," she called from outside the curtain. "And shave as closely as you can." Wrapped in a towel, he stepped back into her room. The first thing she did was lace a corset around his waist, tightening it firmly. "Raise your arms. Take a deep breath." The moment he did, she pulled the laces even tighter. He struggled slightly to breathe, but she ignored his discomfort and guided him through the rest. She helped him pull on stockings and attach the garters from the corset. Next came ruffled panties decorated with small blue bows. After that, she adjusted the bra and added soft padding so the shape appeared fuller beneath the fabric. "Sit here," she said, pointing to the vanity. He obeyed while she began working on his hair with a curling iron and blow dryer. After a few minutes, she brought out a hairpiece from her closet that matched his color perfectly. Carefully, she blended it with his own hair until it flowed down his back in soft blonde waves. When she finished styling it, she gathered the hair neatly and formed an elegant bun, leaving a few loose strands framing his face. Then came the makeup. She applied foundation and powder before brushing pale blue eyeshadow across his eyelids. Dark eyeliner traced both the upper and lower edges of his eyes. She handed him the mascara, watching closely as he applied it. Finally, she blended a gentle pink blush across his cheeks. At last she revealed the dress she had chosen. A delicate light blue and white gown made from satin and lace, reminiscent of something from the old Southern aristocracy. It was clear that Ready or Not Paul, now called Amelia, was being prepared for a very different role than he had ever imagined. His mother helped him step into the dress and carefully pulled the zipper upward. One by one she fastened the 12 small buttons along the back, making sure the garment fit perfectly. Around his waist she tied a soft blue sash, securing it with a square rhinestone buckle that sparkled in the light. A delicate rhinestone necklace followed, the pale stones with faint blue accents resting gently against his chest. From the closet she brought out a pair of blue shoes decorated with rhinestone clips at the toes, matching the dress beautifully. Next came long white gloves that reached his elbows. Each glove was closed with a line of tiny buttons and finished with a blue ribbon tied into a bow at the elbow. She slipped a rhinestone bracelet onto his left wrist, then carefully pierced his ears so she could attach a pair of dangling earrings set with blue and white stones. "Before we go downstairs, Amelia," she said, spraying a touch of perfume into the air, "take a look at yourself." He turned toward the mirror. For the first time he saw the image he had secretly imagined for years staring back at him. Excitement mixed with nervousness as he studied the reflection. "From now on this will be your everyday attire," his mother continued. "I helped you today, but soon you'll learn to handle your own makeup and hair." She gestured toward the door. "Come along. Carolyn and Catherine are waiting." Even though the corset made breathing slightly difficult, Amelia held her head high. If this was now expected of her, she would carry herself with confidence. Lifting the skirt slightly, she walked past her mother, descended the sweeping staircase alone and entered the sitting room. Juliet and Catherine stared in amazement. The low neckline hinted at a delicate curve created by the corset and padding, while the fitted waist and flared skirt gave her figure an elegant shape. The added hair and careful makeup completed the transformation. "Wow, Amelia," Juliet said with a grin, taking her hands. "You look better than half the girls I know." She studied her brother thoughtfully. "All you're missing is an escort for the ball. Actually, why don't we present you as our family's debutante this year?" Just then their mother entered the room. "That's an excellent idea," she said. "If there's enough time, Amelia will attend the ball as our debutante." Amelia nearly lost her balance at the announcement, but Juliet quickly helped her sit. "She looks like she might faint, Mother." "Sit her down," their mother said calmly. "She'll be fine." After a moment Amelia straightened again, still adjusting to the tight corset. "You'll get used to it," her mother advised. "Take small breaths." "Couldn't you loosen it a little?" Amelia asked cautiously. "No," she replied firmly. "A debutante must have a very small waist. What feels tight today will seem loose soon. By the time of the ball, I expect your waist to measure 20 inches. She added casually, "My wedding gown, once altered, should fit you perfectly." Amelia wondered privately why they couldn't simply adjust the dress instead, but decided not to argue. As she turned to leave, her mother added one more remark. "You remind me of your father, Amelia. I once found him dressed as a woman with another man shortly before our divorce. Perhaps it runs in the family." With that she left the room. Juliet quickly brightened again. "We should throw a party to introduce Amelia to everyone." Within minutes she was calling friends, boys and girls alike, to invite them over. Amelia wished she could disappear into the floor. It was becoming painfully clear that, whether she liked it or not, the next 6 weeks would be spent in dresses while preparing for the ball. When her mother heard about the party, she gave a stern warning. "You may host it," she told Juliet and Catherine, "but Amelia's secret must remain private. If either of you reveals it, she will not appear as a debutante, and that would disappoint me greatly." Juliet immediately fell silent. Embarrassing her brother suddenly seemed less important than avoiding their mother's anger. Amelia, meanwhile, quietly asked her mother if she might wear something more modern for the gathering. Juliet agreed. "In that ball gown she'll stand out too much." "Very well," their mother said, "but the outfit must still be clearly feminine." "I know just the dress," Juliet exclaimed. They helped Amelia remove the gown and several of the undergarments. "I should probably take a shower," Amelia said. "I don't feel very fresh. Could you loosen the corset? I'll put it back on afterward." Juliet hesitated but eventually untied the laces, watching as Amelia slipped away to the bathroom. Knowing the party could easily become another opportunity for teasing, Amelia wanted everything to be perfect. She ran a warm bubble bath and soaked in scented water until she felt completely refreshed. After drying off, she returned to find clothing laid neatly across the bed, likely chosen by Juliet or their mother. The first item was a pair of red high-cut panties styled in a French fashion. Taking the makeup case with her, she began preparing her look. Dressing up secretly in the past had given her practice, and she worked carefully with soft pastel colors. Light blue shadow covered her eyelids, accented with a subtle plum tone. Beneath the brows she blended a soft coral highlight. Black eyeliner defined her eyes, and a gentle rose shade added warmth to her cheeks. Just as she finished, her mother entered. "Perfect timing," she said. "Turn around." Once again the corset was tightened around Amelia's waist. "Do you need any more help?" her mother asked. "No, mother. I can manage." After she left, Amelia attached her stockings to the garters and adjusted them. Standing before the mirror, she placed the small pads into the bra and adjusted them until the neckline looked natural. Next she slipped into the dress waiting on the bed. It was simple but elegant, red, sleeveless with a square neckline and a hem just above the knees. Her long blonde hair contrasted beautifully with the bright fabric. Only the finishing touches remained. Spotting a pair of red heels on the floor, she stepped into them. They were slightly tight but made her legs look graceful. Determined, she walked to her mother's room. "Mother," she said politely, "may I borrow some jewelry? And could you help with my hair?" Her mother studied her for a moment. The transformation was striking, and it was becoming clear that Amelia enjoyed the role more than she had expected. With a quiet sigh, she guided her to the vanity and brushed out the blonde hair until it fell softly over her shoulders. After trimming the bangs slightly, she styled it in a simple way Amelia could repeat later. She added a gold choker necklace with a red pendant, replaced the earrings with small gold hoops, and placed a watch on one wrist and a bracelet on the other. Amelia finished by spraying a bit of perfume. Just then Juliet and Catherine entered the room. They stopped in surprise. "Wow," Juliet said. "She actually looks really good." Catherine simply nodded, her earlier plan to mock him fading away. Taking Amelia's hand, Juliet led her toward the living room while Catherine followed. Behind them, their mother called out one more reminder. "Remember, her secret stays hidden. I decide how she dresses and behaves. You may suggest things but nothing more." Both girls nodded quickly. Soon guests began arriving. Juliet and Catherine introduced Amelia to everyone before leaving her to mingle. Before long, one of the young men, Winston, a rather arrogant friend of Juliet's, approached her. Unsure how to handle his attention, Amelia found herself trapped in conversation. Fortunately, her mother soon intervened and guided her aside. "You'll need a companion for the ball," she said quietly. "I expect you to charm one of these young men into escorting you." The idea made Amelia uneasy. Wearing the clothes was one thing, being paired with a man was something else entirely. Still, her mother had placed her in this situation and there was no easy way out. Taking a steady breath, Amelia scanned the room and spotted Juliet speaking with a tall young man. She approached them with a confident smile. "Juliet, are you keeping this handsome gentleman all to yourself?" she teased lightly. Momentarily surprised, Juliet quickly recovered. "Amelia, this is Daniel von Doran." Daniel greeted her politely, lifting her hand and brushing a kiss against it. His grip lingered longer than expected. Afterward he excused himself briefly, and Juliet handed Amelia a drink, though Amelia could sense her sister's irritation. Soon music filled the room. Without hesitation Daniel returned and invited Amelia to dance. To her surprise, she found herself moving easily with him, enjoying the moment. From across the room Juliet and Catherine watched as the two spent much of the afternoon together, sometimes stepping out into the garden for quiet conversations. As the party gradually wound down, Amelia realized her worries were no longer about the dress she wore, but about what might happen next. Daniel's warm attention and the gentle kiss he placed on her hand left Amelia certain that, before the afternoon ended, he would try to see her again. Gathering her courage, she finally spoke. "Daniel, would you consider being my escort to the ball?" He smiled warmly. "It would be an honor, Amelia." After another polite kiss on her hand, he departed with several other guests. A few minutes later Amelia's mother entered the room. Well, she asked. Did you find someone to accompany you? Yes, mother, Amelia replied calmly. Daniel von Doran has kindly agreed. The answer left Juliet, Catherine, and her mother staring at her in surprise. Satisfied with herself for easing some of the tension between them, Amelia quietly slipped upstairs to her room. She considered changing out of the red dress but realized she had very few alternatives. Instead she went to her mother and asked if she might wear something simpler. A skirt and blouse perhaps? Of course, dear, her mother said. I'll help you. As they walked up the broad staircase, however, her mother noticed Amelia's stride. That walk won't do, she said. You need something to help correct it. In her room, Amelia removed the dress and waded in her corset, stockings, and heels. Soon her mother returned carrying an unfamiliar garment, a cloth band designed to fit around the thighs with a short strap between the legs. This will encourage smaller steps, she explained while fastening it in place. You'll wear it most of the time except when sleeping or bathing. Left alone, Amelia carefully practiced walking. At first she felt awkward, but she quickly adapted by taking shorter, more measured steps. Eventually she chose a simple blue shirtwaist dress and changed into white flats before heading downstairs again. The device forced her to keep her steps small and her posture upright. Even sitting required her knees to remain close together. By evening she was tired from the corset and the trainer, realizing this routine was only the beginning of her mother's expectations. Sure enough, the next morning the routine continued. Take your bath, her mother instructed when Amelia woke. Afterward I'll help you dress. That day's outfit was another elaborate gown, cream satin worn off the shoulders with several petticoats beneath it. After stockings came knee-length ruffled undergarments tied with bows, and then the dress itself, which fastened with dozens of small buttons down the back. Long gloves, a bonnet, and a sash completed the look, along with high heels that made walking difficult. Makeup came afterward, though her mother kept it restrained except for a bold red lipstick. Before leaving the room, however, her mother added yet another accessory. A narrow satin strap connecting her elbows, limiting how far she could move her arms. This will remind you to keep your movements graceful, she explained. Though Amelia found the restraints uncomfortable, she could not deny they forced her posture and gestures to appear more refined. Over the next 2 weeks she wore the corset and thigh trainer every day. Gradually she adjusted to them, and the corset slowly shaped her waist to the size her mother desired. Eventually even her mother admitted that Amelia carried herself with more poise than Juliet, and the extra restraints were no longer necessary. During this time Daniel had invited her to lunch several times, but her mother insisted she wasn't ready yet. One morning, however, Amelia sensed things might change. She began her routine carefully. Her own hair had grown long enough to style without the hairpiece, and she shaped her brows into a softer arch. After tightening the corset herself, she dressed in pink satin undergarments and stockings before sitting at the vanity. Her makeup was light but precise. Soft blues on the eyes, a copper highlight, dark liner, mascara, and a gentle blush. For clothing she chose a tailored gray skirt, a white blouse with lace detail, and a fitted pink jacket that emphasized her newly shaped figure. Black patent heels completed the outfit. She added pearl jewelry, a small brooch, and a touch of rose lipstick before placing a few essentials in her purse. When she walked downstairs, her mother greeted her with a thoughtful smile. I must admit, she said, at first I intended this to embarrass you. I never expected you would embrace it so completely, or even find yourself an escort. Amelia smiled calmly. I suspected your intentions, she replied. But I was more concerned about Juliet. If I appeared confident, it made teasing much easier to ignore. Her mother nodded approvingly. Well then, enjoy your lunch. I'll make sure Juliet behaves herself. Soon Daniel's car arrived. Amelia kissed her mother on the cheek and stepped outside for her first real outing with him. Sitting beside him in the back seat, she felt both excitement and uncertainty. Daniel, with his dark hair and confident smile, seemed genuinely pleased to see her. I've made reservations at Le Jardin, he said. I hope you'll like it. I'm sure I will, Amelia answered politely. She had heard of the restaurant. It was one of the most elegant places in town. The ride passed pleasantly. Daniel behaved like a perfect gentleman, never crossing any boundaries. Amelia found herself enjoying the attention and the strange new role she had stepped into. Later, when he dropped her off at home, she returned upstairs where her mother was waiting. "Did you have a good time?" she asked. "Yes," Amelia said warmly. "He's very kind." Her mother nodded, then spoke in a matter-of-fact tone. "That's good. Because you'll be marrying him shortly after the ball." Amelia stared at her in disbelief. "Married? Mother, I can't marry him. When he finds out who I really am." Her mother interrupted calmly. "You will marry him, Amelia. It's already arranged." Realizing she had little control over the situation, Amelia retreated to the patio with a glass of iced tea, trying to think through what her mother was planning. The next morning she was awakened early. Her mother helped her into a new corset, tightening it carefully before measuring her waist again. "Perfect," she said with satisfaction. After dressing Amelia in a pale blue dress and preparing her for the day, they left for town. Amelia expected a fitting at a dress shop, but instead the car stopped in front of a small clinic. Confused, she was led inside where a doctor prepared a procedure. When she awoke later, she realized her body had been altered. Her mother returned with a mirror. "There," she said simply. "Now everything matches the image you've been presenting." Afterward, they visited Amelia's aunt. On the back patio, a small tea table had been prepared. "Oh, Amelia, you look lovely," her aunt said warmly. "Come in. There's someone I'd like you to meet." She called across the garden. "Hannah, come here for a moment. I want you to meet Amelia." A young girl stepped forward as the afternoon sun lit the patio, and Amelia prepared